Hello, my fellow speakers. This is Brian, the speaker for the dead, coming to you tonight with the final episode of Expanding the Expanse for season 4. I'm looking forward to doing this one. I think it's going to be great. It was another great episode. A little slower than the last one, but I don't know. I'm excited to talk about this tonight. So I apologize for starting the stream a little later than what I had originally intended for those who I'd talked to about doing this before. I really do apologize for that. Things didn't turn out quite the way I was hoping that they would. I got back later from my trip than I normally would. In fact, I've only been home for about 30 minutes. But because I had told everybody that this is what I was going to be doing, I wanted to make sure I was here to do this for you. So welcome to everybody who's here. And we're just going to go ahead and get started. This is the last episode for this season of The Expanse. So it's kind of a sad thing and kind of an exciting thing to see where things are going to go. I have not read all these books yet, so I don't know totally what's going to be coming. So that's something to look forward to. I'm reading the books now, but I'm reading them behind watching the series because I didn't want spoilers for what the show was going to do, but they are a little different in different ways, different enough that it's still good. But let's go ahead and get started with this episode. Cibola burn. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that, Cibola or Cibola burn. I'm sure I should probably have looked that up, but I didn't. So because that would have been preparedness. And when you walk in off the road 30 minutes before you start your live stream, you don't have as much prep time as you normally do. I watched the episode a couple times this week trying to prep for this. So I don't want to seem completely unprepared. But this episode picks up right where the last one left off. And God, it just jumps straight back into it. So yeah, here we are watching Dr. Okoye fall through the black circle of doom, which the visuals for this are just fantastic. I loved this whole season was just really great for this, and I will be pausing periodically so that they don't freak out and try and cut my stream off for copyright reasons. But I loved this episode. This whole season has just been fantastic. The quality has not gone down at all from when the Sci-Fi Channel had this to now that it's Amazon. It is stayed the same or gotten even a little bit better, which I didn't think they could do, but they have done it. So we see here that Dr. Okoye has fallen through the circle of death and got to see some crazy stuff. I don't know how much she actually sees as she's going through this, or just kind of experiences it, because the way they describe it in this episode, they don't really talk about that. They just kind of allude to like what she feels and stuff. Holden shows up and grabs her and pulls her away, and she is freaking out right here, which I don't blame her based on what we just saw her go through. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, all this swirling stuff and crazy things going on. I don't know. I really liked all the episodes. This one is a slower episode than what I was kind of expecting for a season finale. But in a lot of ways, it's good because then you're not doing this crazy stuff. But anyway, so we see that she has pulled Miller, who was inside the machine there, through the circle of doom. Basically the unexploded bomb left over from the war between the the gate builders and whatever it was that killed them off. So it was just I don't know this. It was crazy watching what was going on inside there. It was like watching black electric eels shooting around her. So I don't know. I haven't, like I say, I haven't read the book, so I don't know exactly what it was that killed off the gate builders, basically. So and I haven't read the book, so we'll see what's going to happen there. But I don't know. It's just I love Okoye's reaction in this. She really does just an amazing job of showing the terror that that goes along with what she's just experienced. She's completely at a loss for words. And then we see the planet, which was completely lit up. It goes completely dark, and they're able to restart the reactors on the ship, and basically it's over. By pulling Miller through the gate, she has, she basically caused the end of the proto molecule on the planet. She's killed it all off, which dragging it through the bright circle of doom. So we see the Rosinante. They get their engines back, and welcome, Kamikaze. I'm glad you snuck away. So yeah, we see that the planet's gone dark. They've been able to restart their reactors. Everybody's kind of celebrating. Like I say, the visuals for this season are just crazy good. They've always been good, but this season they really seem to step it up and go into overdrive. I guess that's what happens when you get Amazon and Jeff Bezos money behind your series, is that you can just pretty much do whatever you want. Anyway, so the Rosinante and the other ships get started. And I love this part when the power comes back on. Everybody's kind of celebrating, and Alex goes, calls the science ship. I just lost his name. And it's like, you and I are about to have, I've got target lock on you, and we are about to have a serious conversation, because they just tried to kill him by launching a shuttle at him here, not like 10 seconds before. So I don't know. I like Alex Kamali. He makes me laugh. And I don't know. I really enjoy. At first, he was kind of obnoxious. I didn't get why he was talking the way he did, but in the books, it actually explains it quite a bit better. Which I just realized I became one of those guys. Well, if you read the books, so I apologize for that. That was terrible. Anyway, so we see that they have they've been able to restart their reactors. The Rosinante has basically said, to the Edward Israel, that's what it is. You're in trouble, and we will blow you out of the sky if I see one more thing come out of your ship. Anyway, it made me laugh. Anyway, so we see that the can I remember the name of the Belter ship? It's kind of a weird, the Barbara Piccola or something like that. Anyway, we see they're able to light their engines and pull themselves out of falling into the gravity well, basically, to escape. And so they're saved, and they're able to escape. And then we see them basically drop the tether, and here you see it start to burn up in the atmosphere as it falls. Anyway, so everybody's excited. The ships are saved, and this is where Alex calls them up. It's just like, yeah, gonna kill you. Anyway, so then we see her talking about how that she realized she's in trouble, and everybody's gonna have to pay for what they did. Dr. Lucia is coming to realize the hard truths of some of the decisions that she's made. Anyway, we cut back to this scene where we're watching Klaus Ashford, and he's been tracking Marco Inaros' ship and trying to figure out what they've done. And they come across some asteroids, and they're trying to figure out what happened to them. And they're kind of having a hard time. So we see Klaus Ashford here, Ashford, sitting here, and he's trying to. What we're looking at here is the courses of the ships, and he is trying to decide where Marco Inaros' ship went and what happened to it. And we find that Marco Inaros shut off his transponder for a certain period of time and then turned it back on later on. Anyway, so I apologize for the pauses here. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm getting to the real crux of this. So we see that they have captured a Martian Marine, or one of the space commanders, and this guy with the tattoos on his face has just pulled one of his teeth out. So not a friendly gesture, not the nicest thing to do, and questioning this guy to try and figure out what's going on with Mars, because Mars and the Belters are working together, and they've figured this out now. So they're trying to figure out what it is that they're doing. And we've seen this all through this season, where Bobby has been working with Belters, and she's known that they've been working with Belters, and so it's been pretty interesting to see what they've been doing. Anyway, Ashford comes in and stops him from roughing this guy up. It's I don't know, this scene with Ashford here, I wish I could do more sound here and show and let you guys hear what's going on, because this conversation is actually really interesting. They're talking back and forth about what's going on and why it is that the Martians are also all of a sudden helping the Belters, and why they're working together. They've been mortal enemies like forever and ever. And Ashford is here talking to this guy, trying to convince him to tell him what's going on. Tell me what's happening. Tell me what you're doing, and why you're working with Belters. I mean, because they hate each other. The Belters and the Martians have had this hateful relationship for just ever and ever. And we find that he has that this guy, this Martian, is someone who works in just lost my train of thought. That's beautiful, huh? Well, nothing like being live when you lose your train of thought. Anyway, I apologize for that. But so these two kind of go back and forth, and and he's trying to be reasonable with this guy, trying to tell him, hey, you need to figure out what you're doing, and we need to know what you're doing. And this guy basically just kind of spits it back in Ashford's face, and then flicks his own tooth back at Ashford, because the Belter just before him ripped this guy's tooth out, basically torturing him. So we see that, and we cut back to Mars, and Bobby and Little Miss Sunshine here are going at it again. These two have never liked each other, and yet you actually kind of see them collaborate for the first time, which is really great. It's to actually see these two stop trying to get into a pissing competition, pardon my expression, every time they're around each other, and they actually try and work together. I love this part where they walk up and Bobby's like, I'll be happy to mop the floor with you again, and then we'll just wait for the police, then we can tell them all about what's going on here. I don't know. I love Bobby. She's so funny. And a lot of fun to listen to her in this particular scene. And then they go to a bar and they start talking about what's going on and why Bobby's worried about what's happening and what the possible downfall is for this final step. Because Esai's getting sloppy because he wants the score to get his family off Mars because he thinks Mars is going to die. Now that the belt or now that the ring gates are open and there's livable, habitable planets, he just feels like, oh, this, it's all over. This is the end. So they're he's just feeling like, that there's no point. So he's getting sloppy and doing things that he shouldn't do just to get his family off Mars. Anyway, it's kind of a cool moment here because you finally, the Belter girl, or the Martian girl, pardon me, finally admits to Bobby what happened to the customs agent in the earlier part of this season. We find out that he was trying to shake her down. Things got aggressive, and he fell and basically got killed on accident. That she didn't hurt anybody on purpose. So it's kind of a neat moment where you kind of see these two almost kind of come to a resolution, which that was kind of nice to see them actually kind of at least get to the point where they can kind of be friends about things. I thought that was kind of cool. After all the animosity between them, things finally get better. But Bobby's trying to talk her out of going, because she knows something's wrong. Something's not all right. Esai's getting sloppy, and so that she's trying to tell him, hey, you don't want to do this. This is not going to end the way you think it is, which is why Bobby's not participating in this. So, so then we cut back to New Terra, and we see that Dr. Okoye is bandaging up Amos. She's kind of not paying attention to him. He's like, hey, you need to put that on tight. I just love Amos. He's sitting there bleeding, half of his hand's missing. He's gotten shot in the side, and he's looking at her like, hey, stop gawking off. I'm bleeding here. You need to tighten that up. And I just thought, Amos just kills me. He just makes me laugh. But Okoye is staring at the big glowy ball of death, trying to figure out what's going on here. And she has just fallen through that orb trying to get Miller to it. And she saw basically some crazy stuff. It's like that old saying, be careful when you look into the dark, because the dark also looks into you. You almost get that kind of a somebody walking over your grave feeling in that scene, because she is like kind of freaked out after this happens. And anyway, we see Holden. He goes and grabs Murtry and drags him over there and throws him down inside this room. And it's Amos, and Amos is giving him the total stink eye. And hey, welcome. No, I'm late getting started, so you are right on time. So now, but we see Amos is given Murtry the total stink eye, because Murtry's basically one shot him in the hand and caused all this stuff to kind of go wrong, and basically made it so he had to kill the girl that he was involved with. So, but yeah, I think you're right. She does kind of regret it, but she's kind of lost in this moment, just completely like, I don't know what just happened. I have seen something I I don't want to see. I didn't want to see, and I never want to see that again. Kind of a thing. But you can see the scientist in her warring with anyway. I love Dr. Okoye. She's one of the reasons I really enjoyed this season. Um, one of the many reasons. There's so many reasons to love this. So they're basically talking back and forth here and going over how they're going to get out. Holden decides he's going to try and climb out of this, which when they actually show that visual of the shaft he's got to climb up, I'm like, yeah, that doesn't look as easy as you're making it sound like it's going to be. So anyway, it just kind of makes me laugh. But I mean, he obviously does it. So, but anyway, it's funny because he's trying to like, hey, Amos, don't kill him. You know, we want it's important to me. I want to take him back and put him on trial for this, and you know, and stuff. And he's like, but he deserves it. You know, just total Amos being Amos. Yeah. See, I haven't read the book. I haven't read this book yet. I'm on the second book because I'm trying to actually stay behind the TV show so that I kind of get to look at it fresh. But yeah, I haven't got to read about her in the book, but I really liked her character this season. She was awesome. She was a lot of fun. She really brought that scientist curiosity, and you know, it's just, I don't know. yeah, 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 exactly. But yeah, so this was great. I mean, and then so we see Holden, and he climbs up the outside of this tower, and you know, and finally gets to where he can get a hold of Naomi and Alex up on the Rosinante, and says, "Hey, you gotta come and get." Oh, I didn't know that. See, I haven't read that part in the book yet, so I'm a little bit behind on the. I'm kind of doing that on purpose, though, just a little bit, so that I don't, because so many times, like TV shows and movies, fall short of what the books do, and so I'm trying to come at this clean and stuff, and it's actually making it. It's actually making it good because I just finished the second book this week while I was on the road. So, but I love Dr. Okoye's character. She's at least in the show, I love her character. She's got that, I want to know, you know, that total scientist kind of mentality, and I really do love that about her. It makes her character really fascinating to watch, and kind of gives you that objective view of the protomolecule and everything it's been doing up to this point. Anyway, so we see Holden. He climbs the tower, gets a hold of them, and they're like, "Where the heck are you?" And he's like, "Well, I'm here." And they're like, "That's like 10 kilometers from where you were." He's just like, "Yeah, no, come get me." So, but yeah, it was just the visuals for these shots right here are. I'm trying to get the stupid thing to show a more of a wide. Yeah, that's not it. The visuals for this season have been just absolutely fantastic. There we go. There we go. So you see all the towers, and it's like once things got lit up, when the planet started to activate, it's like it cleared everything away, so you can see like how much the protomolecule changed this world. It's just, it's just crazy, and the visuals are so well done. And I love that about this season. So, and spoilers is just a throwaway, but it's yeah, no, you're good. So yeah, it's So we see we end up back on the ship with can't talk, Klaus Ashford. Ashford. I'm just gonna say Ashford because that's easier. And he's talking to the guys. This is after his interrogation of Sonny, the Martian douchebag. So which gives me the opportunities. Yeah, and so that's why I'm trying to come at this totally fresh. So that because more often than not, usually you watch a TV show or a movie, and or if you read the book first and then you watch it, you hate the show. So I'm like, I'm going to reverse this time and see if I can actually keep from wanting to strangle the people who made the show. And so far, it's been working great. I'm liking both because now I'm following the shows with the books. So I don't know, it's making a lot more fun. But yeah, the visuals are awesome on how they did this. It is a lot of fun to watch. And I mean, the visuals when it was under sci-fi were good, but what they're doing with Amazon is just that much better. You can tell Jeff Bezos went, hey, you can have all the money in the world to make your show. Because he's a fan. I guess he is a fan of The Expanse, which is why they picked it up. So I mean that tells you that he's probably. I mean, he gave them. I mean, they're already getting another season before this season even came out. They're getting their next season, which is awesome. So that, I mean, that's good, and I hope we get all of them. I hope they don't cut this off because I'll just bawl like a little girl. Just kidding. Anyway, so we see them talking about what they need to do, and Ashford, I love his character because he's trying to tell these two guys that just want to, be kind of just rough and tough. He's like, hey, you get to see him helping them understand sometimes you can get further with a smile than by punching somebody in the face or ripping their teeth out. And it's just like you can tell these two are just like, I don't get it. Well, you got too much ink on your face. It's poisoned your brain. No, I apologize. That was mean. But this, I don't know. This is this whole part with Ashford going after these guys and how he tracks them down and figures out what they're doing and stuff. It's just it's a lot of fun. It's like watching another detective story. So yeah, and that's what I've heard is that this book in the series is probably the weakest, and yet so far this kind of has been one of the coolest seasons of the show. So I mean that's really saying something for the creative team behind this show, is that when you can take a kind of a weak book in a series and make it like the best of the series so far. I mean, and from what I'm hearing, like next season, yeah, is going to be epic because it's supposed to be like the best book in the entire trilogy, blah, the entire series. But yeah, I love Ashford. The last season I wasn't sure about him. I just thought, I love the guy that plays him. I really do. I love the actor that plays him, but I just wasn't sure if he was going to be a great character. And then by the end of the season, he was one of my favorites. And then this season, it's been the same thing. I love the actor that does that. I can't think of his name. David Strathairn. He is so good. I remember him from back when he did the movie Sneakers. I don't know if anybody remembers that movie, but I love that movie with Robert Redford and him and Dan Aykroyd, and it was freaking awesome. but yeah, so I'm looking forward to this next season because everybody talks about it being the best. So yeah, and it is funny that he goes from villain to part of the team. It's like, well, didn't see that coming. But I mean, he did such a good job of in that last season of the duality. I mean, it's like, wow. I mean, it just tells you how versatile of an actor he is. Like I said, I've loved him clear back from Sneakers and other movies that he's been in. So Yeah, yeah. They've all been good. This one has surprised me as far as season goes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's yeah. That's where I remember him from. I mean, he was in that. He was in A River Runs Through It, or not A River Runs Through It. Oh, it's a horror. I didn't even like the movie. It's a river rafting movie, and he plays the gal's husband. Meryl Streep, I think, anyway. Yeah, I'll get off on. Yeah, don't get me going on movies. I'll just go off on a tangent all night. So, hey, welcome back, Kamikaze. Peace, honor, goodwill toward men and women. Yeah, yeah. No, he is just he's such a great. This whole cast for this show has been fantastic, and it's fun to watch them when they're on stage together. You can tell they really like each other. They really like working together, which makes a huge difference. You can tell when there's chemistry in a cast and when there's not. I mean, it's what made the first Star Wars trilogy so great. Is those guys were, I mean, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, they were, I mean, they were friends and stuff after that first film. They were great in that because they got along so well as actors. I mean, they cast them as a team, not just individuals. So I kind of get the feel that's almost what they did here, but I don't know that for sure. So um I love how the villains are generally do. Yeah. 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 I love I think it's Vern Gorman, I think is who plays him. And I really like him as an actor. I haven't seen him in a lot of things, but he really did do a fantastic job as the villain in this season. Like I said, I haven't got that far in the book, so I don't know about how he is in the books. But I mean, a lot of the ways people are described in the books are very different from how they are in the show, simply because they can't stretch everybody else in the show that are belters to make them look like how they're described in the books. So yeah, so you just kind of have to roll with some of the changes there. But anyway, so we see Ashford, and they're trying to figure out what Marco Inaros is doing and where he's going. He's just basically hunting him down, and they end up killing the guy that they had pulled together, or the Martian guy, because they walk in to question him again, and he's killed. he's he's yeah, he killed the one belter, and then the other belter walks in and just totally wastes him. So yeah, I agree, Kamikaze. It's you can tell when a cast clicks together and when they don't. Because, well, one, usually the show doesn't end up lasting, and then the interactions between them are not really great. So kind of like the Star Wars we got recently. Actually, I don't know. The actors in that, I don't blame them for kind of what happened to the last trilogy of Star Wars, but that's a conversation for another day. Judging them by the cons and pros. Yeah. Yeah. When I watched them at their Comic-Con panels and stuff, they just look like they're having fun. Exactly. They really do. Just, I mean, and you can tell when a cast likes each other, and when you can tell that they cannot wait to leave. I can't think of the gal that plays the. Oh, I'm drawing. Yeah, figures. I'm drawing a blank. The gal that plays Naomi, can't think of her real name right off the top of my head. That's terribly embarrassing. But like when she's at Comic-Con during those appearances, she's funny. She's like manic, like just constantly moving and jumping. It was kind of fun watch, and you can all tell that they've kind of got that Hollywood liberal bent to them and stuff like that, but they don't let it overwhelm and stuff, which is good, because I hate it when actors I don't want to know who they are in real life for the most part. Tell me about your family, tell me about your stuff, but don't tell me about your politics. Don't tell me about I don't want to know that. I just shh, quiet. Anyway, sorry, going off on a tangent here. Back to the show. So anyway, but yeah, I agree. Um, Oh, see, I can't. I refuse to watch the new Star Trek. I'd rather chew some rusty nails than watch the new Star Trek because that's not Star Trek. What they've done to Star Trek isn't Star Trek. They've just made a mess out of it. And I hear the new Picard series is going to be just as bad, which is sad because I mean that's what got me into science fiction was Star Trek and my older brothers basically forcing me to watch it. So, and then before I knew it, I loved it. So yeah. But yeah, the crew, you can tell they love being together and they're having so much fun, and it makes a huge difference in the show that they make. Um, anyway, so we see they're back on the Resonante, and in this next scene, and and here we have him and sorry, I'm almost watched because whenever this is on, I just I just zone out watching this because I just love it. But Murtry is just like hey, what's going on? And he was just like, you're a prisoner, you're not going anywhere. He's like, yeah, that's a big surprise. just, I really do love Burn Gorman. He was just such a good bad guy this season. He really was, and the fact that they didn't just kill him and stuff was just it's great that they just didn't waste the villain, but he's going to have to pay for what he actually did, or well, at least we hope. Bit of communication with oh that's awesome. But yeah, it's in Avasarala, this you can tell that. See it, and I didn't realize it because I've just been starting to read the books. I'm on the second one. So Avasarala's character, she swears a lot in the book. I mean, she is like I don't know how to describe it, like a dirty, mean grandma. I mean, it makes me laugh. I mean, she really is funny. It's and you've seen since Amazon took it over that they have changed that a lot. They have really kind of let her go and let her go more towards the character of the book. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to keep up with the chat comments and not lose my train of thought, which I'm terrible at because I just start yakking. Anyway, so we see him here, and so Alex is just like, yeah, you're a prisoner. Thanks for the update. And anyway, so we end up going and we see Lucia here. And her and Alex are talking, and I mean, you can kind of tell she's regretting what she did. And then, like in the next scene, which I think is really cool, because we have Holden and God, I am terrible, and Naomi are sitting in the ship's mess talking, and Holden basically admits he's going to let Lucia off the hook for what she did. Didn't like her arc that much this season, though. I thought she wasn't as sharp with her language. Yeah, they toned her back from the books quite a bit. I do think. You know what? I didn't. Okay, I'm about to go off on a tangent, but you made me do this. So with Avasarala, they made her seem dim-witted this season, like confused, not as I mean, in the other season, in the other 3 seasons, she is the sharpest tool in the shed. She's getting it before everybody else did. She knows what's going on. She knows how things work. She's just she's just really going after it. Now, I haven't read this book that this one's based on, but in the other ones, she is just sharp. And in this season, they kind of make her seem dim-witted against oh, what's her face? Her rival. Um, just yeah. Anyway, lost her name. But you know who I'm talking about. It's basically her political rival for control of the Earth government. I just I didn't like that because I was just like, wait, she's never been this confused. And maybe they're basing that on the books, but I didn't think so. I was just like, what happened? Like she went from the lady who knew everything that's going on to the woman who can't make a step right. And I'm like, that doesn't yeah, Nancy Gow. Thank you. Thank you for telling me. I'd have been sitting there chewing over that forever. So but yeah, but in this one, she's just so uh, like okay, all right. And she gets bested by by Nancy Gow, who's just kind of like, I want to let everybody go through and she's just like not thinking it through. And I think my favorite part with Avasarala, actually, I'm skipping ahead here, so okay, I won't talk about that right at the moment because it's actually in this episode. But anyway, so in this scene here, we find out that Holden is not going to turn uh, Dr. Lucia into Earth because he's going to make it seem like she died when she got knocked out of the Rosinante. So I thought that was cool. That Holden's just like he sees the need for that, and I mean they're estranged from their daughter already, and it's just kind of a cool moment between these two. I don't know, they're just these two together are awesome, and I love watching them when they're on screen. It's just I don't know, they just have a real great chemistry together. Anyway, and then we cut back to Earth where we see that they're getting a report from Holden. Finally, he's telling Avasarala what's going on, which makes everything seem like things are going a lot better. And which, for like say with Avasarala this time, she like instead of being able to be politically smart, which she knows she is, she just kind of lets them run over the top of her. Like you would think, as smart and as creative as she is, she could change the narrative again to make this, still be like, hey, okay, so things are okay at the moment, but had one thing gone wrong, it could have been the end of the human race. Let's not forget that, we still have all these planets we have to explore, and who knows what's going to happen. And now we know that there's this. Anyway, I was like I said, and I haven't got to the third book yet. That's my next trip over the road that I'll be listening to that one. But I anyway, so we see here that basically this is where she loses the election. There's no way for her to recover from this because it makes Nancy Gow look like she has been right all along, and makes it look like, oh, we just work together and everything will work out. Yeah, and if it didn't, it probably would have been the end of humanity, because we kind of realized that the people that are part of the proto molecule, yeah, they weren't friends. They weren't friendly. They weren't nice people. I mean, they built their molecule to hijack all living life and transform it. So not nice people. Being a bit useless and blinded by that. That's true. That's true. She does talk about that. That she's always been on the sidelines and never actually run an election. So I mean, yeah. So she's better as a manipulator behind the scenes than actually, having to run for office and stuff. But it just still, as smart as she's kind of portrayed, I don't know, I expected more. I kept thinking, yeah, she's going to come out and what she does with the military funeral and her son and everything that we see in this episode or this season. I was just like, that's the Avasarala that I've been waiting for. Like, where's that gal been this whole season? Bring her in. She'll wipe them out. So anyway, so we see that then we end up back in the storyline with them on Mars, and Bobby's trying to stop them from going in through this transfer, and going forward, she tries to um, call Isai, and he just ignores her, and they just continue on in with radio silence, and she's realized what's going on because the one, we just lost his name, their main contact has just been killed. The guy that she was suspicious of, well, he's been found dead. So they're basically tidying up loose ends at this point. So yeah, they show up to take care of this package that they're going to get paid basically triple for being a part of this whole thing, and then everything goes sideways on them, and they basically everybody gets killed except for little blonde chicky girl. I can't think of her name. I don't remember hearing her name. Yeah, yeah. By the end of this season, you're just like, oh, don't kill the bad guys. It definitely is a change. It is something different that you don't expect. And so this is where Bobby Bout gets torched by a gigantic bomb sitting on the floor there. But you actually kind of start to feel bad for the well, I mean, and the funny thing is when that I think it was last episode where we see Bobby go to Isai's house and meets his kids and his children, and you suddenly realize why he's doing all of this. He's doing this to create a future for his children, and he figures there's no way it's going to be on Mars now with the new worlds coming. He's trying to get his family off planet, and I mean, you really kind of feel for. You're suddenly just like, oh, they're not total scumbags. So yeah, like I didn't suss. That's good. But yeah, so anyway, we see Bobby about get blown up here, and it shatters one of the domes, and it comes crashing in. Yeah, the family scene was awesome, and you suddenly get a different side of why Isai is who he is and why he's doing what he's doing. He's not just a scumbag. He's not just a dirty cop. He just knows he's reading the tea leaves, going, "This is the only way I can get my family to survive." So I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, cool and you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Anyway, so yeah, we see Bobby gets out, the dome collapses, and the bad guys get away, and then she meets back up with the cranky blonde chick. They say her name is like Lily, but I don't think they ever actually say her name. They just talk about her like, "Hey, you." I'm like, okay. But yeah, the family scene was really cool. I like that as well, because you suddenly get a different perspective into who he is, why he's doing what he's doing, and it's not just he's a criminal scumbag or dirty cop. So yeah, I agree. So anyway, we see them meet back up after the explosion, and all of a sudden we get a real different side of blonde crazy chick. And like she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna take off and go to I can't remember if she says Io or not Io, but anyway, yeah, she's gonna get off world, basically. She's gonna get off Mars. And and she's like, "Hey, come with me." And Bobby's like, "No, I gotta figure out what's going on here and stuff." So you suddenly see a flip in this girl's character. Like, when everything went bad, she's just like, she's not the, pardon my French, but hard ass that she's been making out this whole time. She's like, she's a scared girl who's just trying to make her way in the world, and she just lost everything she thought she had going for her. It's just kind of a cool flip scene and stuff, and she tries to help Bobby, and Bobby's like, "Nah, I got to figure this out." So, yeah, I liked Bobby's arc this season, because she's like, one, she won't do anything that hurts Mars. she's still got an ethical and moral code that she's trying to keep to, but like, I mean, she doesn't want to be. She starts out not wanting to be a criminal and ends up having to do criminal things just to make things work. And then she has the cool relationship with her boyfriend, and then that ends kind of badly. And I like Bobby's arc this season. It wasn't as action packed as we've seen in the previous seasons, but yeah, I liked what they did with her this season. It was different, like I said, and where I haven't read this book yet or listened to this book on audio or whatever, I didn't know quite what to expect, what was going to happen here. So anyway, so we see these two separate, and crazy blonde girl takes off, and Bobby sticks around to try and figure out what's going on. I didn't realize a lot of people had complained about Bobby going off the rails, but nobody's perfect, and then when your chips are down, sometimes you do what you have to do. Not that I say, "Yay, go out, become a criminal," but you know what I mean. Anyway, so we end up back on New Terra, and the doctor's kind of got her feet back under her again, and they're getting everybody out of the tower, basically rescuing everybody. And the Belters are going to be able to go sell their ore and stuff, which I thought was cool, that the Belters weren't going to get shafted in this, and that they actually end up working together. I thought that was really cool, because I didn't know how that was going to end, because it seems like the Belters in the books get shafted a lot, and stuff. But not like everybody doesn't end up getting Illis, there you go, gets shafted, but it's kind of a dog eat dog world that they've created here. Definitely not Star Trek and everything's wonderful fluffy bunnies most of the time, but that's what makes it interesting. So anyway, they're headed, they take off, and they're headed back. The girl's gonna go to university. I just lost her name. She was obnoxious. I'm sorry. I have to kind of say her character, Felicia. Yeah, how she suddenly became the Wesley Crusher of this show in one episode. I mentioned that in one of my other videos. That really bothered me. Like, she goes from "I don't want to be with my parents" to "I know everything. I am a PhD in 75 different." I'm like, what? Anyway, that was my little pet peeve. But anyway, so we see that because of Miller, in these particular scenes, Miller tells him, "Hey, you got a glob of crap on under the cargo bay, I think it is, or something like that, or under the some part of the ship." And so they go cut it out, and they're gonna get rid of it basically here in this scene. And it's kind of the last send off from Miller. Sorry, she was a sweet kid. I mean, there was nothing wrong with her, but boy, that bothered me. That I hate to say that, but that really did bother me. That she's sitting there talking to the adult engineer on the ship, like, "No, you need to collect this for." I'm like, dude, he's like 30 years older than you. Like, why would you know more? Okay, sorry. Anyway, that was off the rails again. So yeah, so they get rid of the nasty glob of goo stuff under the deck of the Rosinante, and probably one of my favorite scenes in this whole season is this one we're looking at right here, where Amos is like, "Hey, my fist is all healed up," and he goes down. Sits down across, and they're like, "Oh, so we're gonna this isn't gonna go." And you just look at these two. I mean, right here in this scene, Bern Gorman, pretty skinny guy. You got Amos, and I'm just like, yeah, this doesn't end well for for Murtry. Anyway, so we see that he's Amos is talking, and they're kind of going back and forth, and And then he tries to take a shot at him. Oh, and I love this look on Amos's face. I'm sorry. I never got so emotional. Yeah, a little bit of blue goo, and you're just like, oh, hey. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. This look on Amos's face is just so. And then, oh, that. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I could laugh about that. Yeah, the crazy eyes. It kills me. And then you just see him hit him, wham, and that's it. It's like, well, he's dead. which he's not, because he's trying to keep him alive. But you're just like, well, glad you're all healed up, because that's over. Anyway, sorry, I'll get control of myself here. But so then we see we're back on Earth, and yeah, they really couldn't. Amos is, between him and Miller, it's a real toss up for who's my favorite. But now that Miller's gone, it's definitely Amos. But I loved Miller's sarcasm and his just dry sense of humor. I really liked that. But yeah, Amos has also been my favorite. Anyway, so we see Avasarala and her husband back here, which I know I've been critical of him because I really liked the guy they had playing him. Yeah, no, they couldn't have. Amos was perfect. I really struggled this season with the guy that was Avasarala, and I've said that a lot, and I apologize for that, but he was not nearly as good as Brian George. He didn't. You know, and he's not a bad actor, don't get me wrong, but he did not have that warmth. He did not have that. It just, if they'd have done the same thing with him as they'd done with the other guy, I know it would have been played differently. And I think it would have just been better had they kept the original actor. And maybe he couldn't. Maybe he was doing other projects. I know I've seen him on the Orville. So, but he would not as a full-time character, but anyway, so this is kind of where we see that because of what's happened in this season, there's some seriously big issues with Avasarala and Arjun, her husband, and so yeah, things are not going well, but yeah, I don't know, and they're both good actors. I was looking up where I'd seen this guy before, and I never put it together. So I went on IMDb, and I'm just like, where have I seen this guy? The guy that plays her husband this season, and he was in Deadpool. He plays the arms dealer. I was like, what? And man, it really threw me because he looked heavier in that film. Anyway, so sorry, another side tangent there. But yeah, I wish that it kept the original actor that was playing Arjun. I just, he had a warmth. There was just a different character to him, and I don't know why that happened this season. But hey, it is what it is. But this is kind of sad what happens right here, that there's this split between these two over what happened supposedly with her son and stuff. You used the death of our son, and he got really upset about that. And it's just like, but what I said was true. It's like, yeah, I may have said that, but anyway, it's just really interesting to me what happened. Yeah. Oh, is that what? Okay. Yeah, I don't know what he's working on now, but I really missed him this season. It's kind of funny when you get used to a certain character and then they swap him out, and you're just like, you're not quite as good. Nothing wrong with this guy. I just really like the other guy. He really did a good job of expressing that warmth and stuff. And he is the soft side to that partnership. But yeah, that's sad. I wish they'd have brought him back. But that's the way the ball bounces in Hollywood. So anyway, this is the part where we see these two are kind of having troubles because I think he's being a whiny little girl about the fact that you you said some stuff about her. Anyway, so it was like, really, really, you're mad. She was in the middle of a campaign, and then anyway, so and politics aside, politics are messy. So just support your wife, dude. Anyway, so and then we cut to this scene where Avasarala is talking to Nancy Gao, and I was thinking about actually listening to this part, but I don't want to get a copyright strike because I loved this scene where Avasarala is talking to her, and I just like, why can't politicians be like this? And it's just because this is science fiction. This is not real. So politicians can't be nice to each other like this in the real world, where she actually wishes her luck, tells her, hope things go good for you, blah, blah, blah. And then like, I think you're wrong, but I hope you're right. And I was just like, that is really a cool sentiment to end that on. That to be gracious like that. You remember when people used to be gracious? Yeah, I remember that. I'm 45, so yeah, I'm old. So anyway, we bounce back out to. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I'm not. So we bounce back out to. Actually, we see this ship for the first time. Oh, actually, God, I'm skipping parts. God, that's terrible. So we see Bobby get a hold of Avasarala and basically say, "Hey, I'm willing to work for you now. I think there's some serious problems here on Mars." It starts telling her kind of what she's been involved in. I love Avasarala. She's like, "Bobby, your timing sucks." I just love Avasarala. I love the gal that plays her. She just does such a good job with that character. Like I said, she wasn't as good this season as she has been in the others. I mean, her performance has been great. The character suffered, I think, this time. But yeah, just it's everything starts to hurt. So lots of fun. Anyway, so we cut back out to Marco Inaros, and he's on a ship. We see that he's got the asteroids that they mined earlier that we saw Clash Ashford find or find that is gone. And so, and we see that they're spraying them down with some kind of a material, which spoiler alert, come to find out that it's the basically the cloaking stuff, the stealth material that they use for in the Martian ships. When things are bad, they say it's still better than nice. Yeah, amen, brother. Yeah, this show at its worst is better than 99. Yeah, I gotta say that out loud because that is an awesome point. Even this season's worst, it's 99% better than all the rest of the TV out there. Like Star Trek's gone to hell, Star Wars has gone to hell. It's just all the things I grew up with and I still love. They've ruined them with political nonsense and stuff. They're trying to use them as platforms for. I'm just like, please stop doing that with my entertainment. Just la 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 la. La. I don't want to hear your political. Nah. So, but yeah, no. Just it was a great season, especially for what everybody's telling me was probably the weakest of the books. Like we talked about before, it's I don't know. Anyway, so back. Sorry, I'm wandering. So back on the topic here at hand. So we see. Oh, and I got to see if I can pull up this scene here because I want to run it while we're talking about it because it is freaking awesome. So we see that their engines get taken out, and snot-nosed McGillicuddy here. Then we see them hit the ship with the breaching pod. So I gotta pause it, make sure I don't get copyright strikes. But so we see Clash Ashford. I am never going to be able to say that all at one time. Getting ready to do the breach, and then they cut through. I love this right here. Boom, boom. Just talk about using lack of gravity to your advantage to just catch everybody off guard. Such a good scene right here. How well this is done. Although they don't show the and she's dead. Anyway, so yeah, it just it's the poor doing so because she went over the head of her. Yeah, and I don't mind political topics in my science fiction. I mean, Star Trek has done that from the very beginning. So I'm just but yeah, doors and corners. But I love science fiction for that because it allows us to discuss topics and to go over things that we wouldn't normally get to go over. That we get to be a part of a conversation that normally everybody'd get pissed off and just walk away from. But because we're doing it through science fiction, we actually get to learn more about each other because we can look at it from a distance. And that's what I love. But see, they're kind of ruining that now with science, and they're trying to be too like, oh, I mean, in some of these series, they might as well just be saying Donald Trump is the worst. It's like, okay, you don't like Donald Trump. I get it. Leave that out of my science fiction. If you hate the Democrats, I don't want to know. Leave that stuff. Talk about it in an allegory. That's what's great about science fiction. It allows us to do that. Anyway, sorry. Off on a tangent again. But anyway, so we see this great scene where they breach and they get through the ship, and then they make it all the way to the bridge, and Ashford's got pow. That's terrible. I'm laughing about violence, but yeah, terrible way to look up and get shot in the head. But anyway, so we see Ashford come on and yeah, so he gets him in the hand and stops him. And then this is where we finally get to see, and spoiler alert before it happens here, Naomi's son. So yeah, it's kind of it's a sad entry for him. Like I said, and I don't know the books and stuff. I just thought, oh, his dad turned him into a loser. Anyway, so sorry. But yeah, I just this part right here is really, I don't know. I have to say how sad this is. So anyway, Ashford gets captured, and and weirdo McJohnson here. he looks. Does anybody else think right here he could be a dead ringer for Prince, or the artist formerly known as Prince, Symbol or whatever? Sorry, my mind went on a tangent there. I keep expecting him to start singing Purple Rain, and whenever I see him in this scene, I'm just like, anyway. So I apologize, mental tangent there. So anyway, so we see them. They've caught Ashford, and they're putting him in the airlock, and they go back and forth. And the cool thing is how Ashford is in this scene. He's like, aren't you going to beg for your life? He's like, no. No, it's just, oh man, I love, like I said, Ashford became one of my favorite characters in this season. He is fantastic. And, the actor is fantastic who plays him. It's just a little red Corvette. Yeah, I like that. But yeah, it just, he just the dignity that Ashford has in this scene. He's like, I am not wasting my last few breaths on begging when he knows it's not going to do any good. Anyway, so we see them talking back and forth here, and Ashford is still trying to find out what's going on, like what is happening here, like what's their plan, what are they doing, because he still thinks they're going to attack Ceres and basically where Fred Johnson is. God, I just lost the name of that. Oh, good stream, Brian. That was great. You forgot half the things you wanted to say. Anyway, so he's still trying to get information out of him right to the last second here, and then basically, and for a death scene, this is freaking awesome. I would hope that when it's my time to go, this would be me. Because he accepts his death, he realizes what's going to happen, he's not going to beg, and he's just like, he faces it like a man. And they cut him loose and tell him like, hey, you're Tycho, thank you. They're not going to, he's not going to make it out. To which I was just like, no, you've become one of my favorite characters. Great. I was a little irritated when this happened, but he's just so cool in this season, or in this moment here. He's singing that song that we see him singing when he's singing to his daughter. And it just, I don't know, it was really cool. And I loved the way they did this, although I was really sad to see him go. Because like I said, I was not a fan of his character when they first introduced him, but by the time the end of the first season was, or the first season with him in it, the third season, and then this one, oh man. Yeah, his scene with the baby, yeah, he's that's a real tribute to the actor who plays him, who plays Ashford, because I mean, he in 2 seasons he was one of my favorite characters. I mean, how many actors can do that? I mean, if this had been played wrong, just sad. But I mean, look at that face, and that's how he goes. So this is where we learn they're not going to attack the belt; they're going to attack Earth, which is just like it's crazy, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't, and yeah. So and then that's boom, end of season, and I was just like, oh no, now I gotta wait for almost a year. I'm hoping that they don't make us wait that long. I'm hoping that they actually bring it out a little quicker than that. But yeah, so great end of the season, sad end to the season, but totally leaving us in suspense for what's coming, especially me, where I haven't read the books and stuff yet. But he's he's just a great character. I really enjoyed him. Looking forward to reading the third book here, the next trip I take out. But I got home like half an hour before I came to do this, so I need to go spend some time with my family. But I mean, great end of the season. I loved this. It was awesome. So excited for the next season because everybody keeps telling me it is going to be the best, it's the best book. So I hope they do it justice. But I mean, all they got to do is just keep doing what they've been doing, and we're going to have something great. So I thank you guys for joining me. Boy, kills. Oh, nice one. That was good. But yeah. Make sure read the novellas in the order they were in. Oh, okay. Thank you for the tip. Yeah, I haven't even started those, so I'm still just trying to get through the main books, but stay behind the TV series. I don't know if I'll continue that on now, where the series the TV series is so good. I feel like I could probably read all the books now and not be like, ugh. which has happened to me with other things where I read the books and then watched the show, and I'm like, this sucks. Anyway, thanks for joining me tonight. Thanks for being a part of my takes on expanding the Expanse. This has been a lot of fun doing this. I don't know that I will do this again with the next season. It just depends on how much interest I get in it. This time it started off great, and then everybody just kind of faded off, which is the problem with the binge model show. Is everybody watches it, it gets real big for about 5 minutes, and then it just tapers off, which is just really sad. It really is sad that I hope this next season they do like what they're doing with the Mandalorian and other shows out there, and they space it out and they release it over weeks. I mean, I love binge, but I hate binge. You know what I mean? I want that build up. I want to be waiting for that next week. I want to keep the show alive for 10 weeks and then start watching the rewatch. So anyway, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of the binge model. The same thing happened when I watched The Witcher. I'm thinking about doing a series on The Witcher because I freaking loved that show as well. It had some issues, but it was awesome. But it's just too hard to do that when they do a binge model show. Because by the time you get through all the episodes, everybody's like, well, moving on. So anyway, thanks for joining me tonight. I've had a lot of fun doing this with you guys. I love The Expanse. Cannot wait for the next season. It's going to be fantastic. Really looking forward to it. I've been listening to the Fandom Menace on here, and they're kind of really crapping on Picard, but I like the Fandom Menace, but they've kind of gotten a bad habit of doing that. And I'm just like, I don't want to give CBS. You know what? Now that CBS and Viacom have remerged, I'm hoping that what's her name, Sherry Redstone. Okay, you're gonna get me off on a whole nother topic here, but I'm hoping that that she comes in and reins in the Star Trek stuff and all this other stuff, and kicks Secret Hideout and Bad Robot and just does away with that Snurk Rock. No. Now I like the Fandom Menace, but they really have gotten way too negative. I listen to their stuff, but I'm just like, guys, can you dial it back a little bit? Anyway, so I apologize, but that makes me laugh. But yeah, I loved this season. It was so good. I was just so tickled that they kept the quality and upped the quality of the show, because I was afraid when Amazon took it over that they were going to mess with it too much, but they didn't. They kept everything that was great and have expanded on it. Expanded. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for being here tonight, and looking forward to the next season. If there's other stuff that you guys are interested in, just shoot me a message. You can contact me on Twitter and some other platforms. On most of my videos, I have that listed down below, so that you can see it. I don't have it on here, and I apologize, but I will try and put that stuff in the description for this video when I edit through it and put the video up. So thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Feel free to shoot me any ideas for stuff that you'd like to see me review in the future, and keep expanding the Expanse, and we will talk to you next time. Bye now.